right, well, good afternoon, everyone. We are here with Larry Grell. Larry is a candidate for the 95th District State House. And so we're going to chat with Larry for just a few minutes and learn a little bit about his background and his aspirations. And then we have some specific questions for him. So Larry, to start out with, I'd like to give you 2 minutes to introduce yourself, talk about your platform and your qualifications.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Larry Grell. I was born in Midland, raised in Freeland, moved up here in '84 in Gladwin County. I live in Gladwin County. Happens I live in Billings Township, one of the townships that's in the 95th district. And I'm a retired union carpenter. 40 years experience in that, got out of that. Started as I was a trustee in the union, then I volunteered as a trustee in our township, moved up to being supervisor for a while. And now I'm running for this. Got into it so far, I might as well go on. I think there's a lot of things that's got to happen. I feel passionate about the seniors, vets, and I think there's some help that can be done for them. I'd like to also be an advocate for this 4-H task force and the 2 dams that were overrun. And I think the people are kind of getting sold a good bill of goods, and I don't really care for it. Living in Billings Township, I had 28 inches of water at my house, and I lost a lot of stuff, a lot of money, nothing, no insurance doesn't pay any of that. So you're just out. I feel that just short brief, I think the lakes don't belong to us. It's not in my deed any place. We didn't overfill the lake, the state did. Why should we be penalized to refill the lakes? I've been a union employee all my life, Democrat all my life. I feel that we need some blue collar people in the state to talk to the people and take their ideas and their questions back down to Lansing. I don't think they're getting there. I would like to just be involved with this because I got some good ideas, I think, and this is all new to me. I can't guarantee I'm going to lower the gas to $1, and I'm not going to do away with your taxes. I'm not going to do all that stuff, but I can guarantee it honestly and briefly that I'm going to do what I can to get the people's questions back down there.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Hey, when you're getting close on your time, I'm just going to give you a little wave, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you for that. And we're gonna move forward with our questions. Diane?
Larry, what are the 3 most important issues facing the Midland and surrounding area today, and how would you suggest those issues be addressed?
I think one of the most important is broadband. We up here, our cell phones, we have them, but you don't know if they're going to work or not work. Broadband is pretty bad when kids, like in this pandemic, were on Zoom calls or on Zoom things, getting their lessons and stuff over the computer, and they have to go sit at a fast food restaurant to get emails and get their computers to work. That's not right. I think that has a lot to do with our economy. I think it has a lot to do with people getting hired for jobs if they can't use a computer to look for a job or anything like that. And there's just a lot of things out there. What was one of your other questions, ma'am?
How would you suggest those issues be addressed?
Yeah, like broadband. I've heard a lot of last 10 years, a lot of money put forward to this. And here we sit in Gladwin County. Midland's not too bad. I understand it, but they still have a place without broadband. And Gladwin has a lot of places without broadband. They just can't afford to get it there. And I think our vets should be taken care of. There's no reason for a vet to be on the streets after he's protected our rights. That shouldn't happen. And education, I think we've got to get some education out there. We've got to get, our kids have got to be safe when they go to school, so they don't have to worry about that. They can do their studies and not worry about being safe. Same as the teachers. Our teachers need more money. And it's hard to get teachers. Well, you know, if they're not making a good living wage, how do we expect our teachers to go ahead and be out there? You know, nobody wants to be a teacher if they can't make a good living wage. I was fortunate.
Thank you.
I was in the union. I made a good wage.
We're gonna move forward. Thank you, Larry. Rod, you have a question for Larry?
Yeah, Larry, how do you define economic development success in the district you're looking to represent, Midland, Bay City, Saginaw area?
Well, it's not Saginaw or Bay City, the one. It's 3 counties in Gladwin County, 3 townships in Gladwin County, and all of Midland County. Midland's known for Dow, but Dow doesn't hire as many people as they did. But still not, if they want somebody to come in and work a specialty for Dow, they're going to want to live someplace. Midland and Gladwin both are very low on the housing market. We need more housing. And I just think that we've got to do something to get, I would say, get things out there for the housing that would give them incentives, tax incentives, something for people to start building some complexes. Midland needs some high-rise apartment buildings. We don't have any of those really. And we need housing, and Midland's a growing community, but we've got to get some things straightened out and get back down to earth and do these things, not just talk about them.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. Thank you. Jeremy?
Yes, Larry, could you provide us with some examples of what you would do to help local businesses succeed and drive economic growth?
Well, I think the first thing that's got to happen, and we shouldn't even have to talk about this. Our Democrats and our Republicans have got to forget they're a Democrat or a Republican when they go in there to work. They're working for us. They're not working for the Democrats or the Republicans. Let's get everybody on the same page so we can work together and come up with some resolutions, resolve some of these problems, and get things moving forward again. Because if we don't, they come to head and that's all they get. They don't really have anything. You know, if the Democrats want it, the Republicans don't. If the Republicans want it, the Democrats don't. What's wrong with that picture? Aren't we all Americans? Let's get together and work on it and solve some of these problems that's in for economical reasons and stuff. And I think we should definitely raise the minimum wage. I don't know, faster than it is, I guess. And I think, you know, that's one of the problems. We got to get out there and get the wages up a little bit. And education will help that. I think I got the sign.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish we had more time. I really do. All right, Diane.
Larry, if you're elected, what will be your approach to the state budget? What is your general philosophy on spending and taxation?
Spending, I think, is out of control for things that need to be done. Yeah, we need the roads repaired and stuff like that, but we need to watch our money closer. Now, if you're having a house built, aren't you going to be there watching these contractors saying, why are you guys just standing around? Why aren't you working on my house? How come it's taking so long? I know how long it takes to build a house. I've built several. And I don't think I've ever seen a project, very few come in on time and budget. And that's wrong. We've got to watch where our money's going and who's spending it, who's taking it, and get this straightened out. We've got a lot of pork in all our bills. If they're going to pass a bill, say for education, why do we have all this stuff? Why is a 10,000 page thing to pass stuff for education? Why don't we just say, this is for education, this is what we're going to do? No, but we have to smooth everybody else's tail down so that they all get a part of it. And I just think that's wrong. Let's get back to the basics. We want to improve education. Let's improve education. And I don't think that's happening.
Thank you.
John, you have a question for Larry?
Hi, Larry. How would you describe the current balance of power between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of the state government?
Pretty much at a deadhead. Who's talking to who and who's helping who and who's doing what? You know, how many places do you see all the Democrats want something and all the Republicans don't? I mean, when are we going to get, like I said, when are we going to get together? If we don't get together, things aren't going to get done. And we need things done in this state, in this country. I think a lot of the stuff on this pandemic, we were caught way off guard on this. The hospitals weren't prepared. By golly, they should be. There should be a stockpile of stuff there for our hospitals, for our service people, for anybody that needs them. And we didn't have that. We should have that. Not being there, not having any experience in all this, I can't tell you where they're at because I'm not at some of their meetings, but I know they're not on board with each other. And that should be one of the first things they should work on.
Okay, thank you for that message, Larry. Now, final question, and this is where you get 2 minutes to speak about anything that you haven't already touched on or add in anything else you want. So 2 minutes.
Okay, first thing, and this just came to me, and I've been in Michigan all my life. I went to Ferris State and I went to Delta Boat, got a degree. I think this is, and I don't know why somebody else hasn't thought of this. They closed the Osceola Air Force Base. They had several high-rise dorms that they tore down. What would have been wrong with our government converting them to places for our vets to live? They were already built, already places to cook meals in, do recreation in, nice community up there. Why couldn't we have put some of our vets in there? They had a medical facility. Everything was there to help these vets. I think that would have been ideal. And there's other bases too that's closed, I know, but I'm familiar with that one because I not only worked in it, but I went up there quite a bit because I knew people up there. And like the lakes, I feel passionate about the lakes. Like I said before, I don't think we're getting a fair shake. We didn't have anything to do with it. I wasn't in control of the lake level when they overflooded the dam. The dam didn't break. They overfilled the lake. It was overfull before it started to rain because they wanted it pristine for Memorial Day. Other things like senior lunch program. I was very involved in the senior lunch program in Billings Township. We serve anywhere from 8 to 16 lunches a day at the hall. We deliver 45 meals a day from our hall. You know, it's prepared in Gladwin and brought to the township hall, and then they take it out from there. We used to have a couple of volunteer drivers, and now we actually have a paid staff. We have 2 cars that are dedicated to that. And I think that's a big help to these seniors, like our senior lunch at there. I don't think I go there pretty much every day, coffee, but it's for these people to get out and talk to other people. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Larry. We appreciate that. It has been a pleasure speaking with you this afternoon. I know it was fast and furious, but we have so many interviews to do that we're We've
Yep.
got a format that seems to be working for us. So wish we could have spent more time.
I'm not as fast as I should be because, like I said, this is new to me, but so was a trustee and being supervisor. I learned more about government the first year being supervisor
Right,
than I ever thought I didn't have to know.
right,
So,
right. Well, thank you, Larry. We're going to let you get back to your day. Thank you.
okay, well,
Thank you, Larry.
thank you
Very
so
nice
much,
Thanks,
meeting
Larry.
you.
everybody,
Thanks, Larry.
for talking to me and hearing my side of the story.
You bet. Have a great
Absolutely.
afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. We are pleased to be here again with another candidate interview. Joining us today is Ann Manary. Ann is a candidate for the 95th State House District here in Midland. And again, I've got a couple of volunteers who are going to help me interview Ann this afternoon. So Ann, first up, you have 2 minutes to talk a little bit about why you're running, your platform, and then your qualifications.
All right. So my name is Ann Manary. I am currently the county clerk here in Midland, and I would like to thank the Business Alliance for allowing me to do this interview with all of you today. I'm super excited for this campaign and for the next 13 days for it to be, I guess, over in some respects, but it's been a long campaign, but we're chugging right along. So I'm Ann Manary, born and raised in Midland, graduated from Dow High in 1987, raised our 3 children here, and they all went to Midland Public Schools. We have 3 great, wonderful grandchildren that are the light of my life, and particularly. They might be a little bit spoiled, but that's okay. So I have been in public service for the last 32 years. I was elected the Midland County Clerk in 2008, and I decided to run after the 2020 election. And some people say, wow, that's kind of a strange thing to do. But at the time, I saw that there was really a need for people to get some education around our elections so that they understood what the processes were and the laws that we have in place that actually protect everyone's rights to be able to vote. So I decided to get in the race. So February of 2021, I went ahead and announced my candidacy, and I've been running ever since. So I'm excited to talk to the people of the Midland Business Alliance about my platform, which obviously is election, bringing back election integrity by educating our voters. We also want to deal with, our dam issues. I think our reps have done a great job by securing some funding for us. I think we need to continue to stay on that path, making sure that the infrastructure is, up to date downriver, so we don't have that flooding in the city. And, most importantly, education. Our children are our future, and we need to make sure we have good teachers and superintendents and people making the right decisions for our kids.
All right. Thank you, Ann. And I apologize. I failed to mention if I raise my hand, that means you're at the end of your time. Thank you very much. That was a great overview. Diane Bristol from CBM Services has a question for you.
Well, you just answered the question that I'm about to ask you, but that's okay. You can do it again. What are the 3 most important issues facing the Midland community today, and how would you suggest those issues be addressed?
Well, my platform is the elections, dams, and education, but I think we have some other issues here in Midland that I think that the Business Alliance is an appropriate place to talk about them, because I think it has to do with workforce. I think we need to make sure that we have that we're supporting our businesses so that they can bring in good paying jobs to keep people in our community. I think that's a huge job, and I think that we need to make sure that we support that.
Okay.
All right. And Rod Kloha from Circle K Service.
Well, afternoon, Ann. I was going to say good morning, but how do you define economic development success for the Midland community?
I think you define economic development success by the people who live in your community. you define success by having jobs that keep people in our communities, keep them working, keep them shopping, buying homes, just being able to be productive members of our community. I think that's good economic climate. And again, I think that we need to make sure that we're doing that we're supporting our economic climate. Perhaps some of the COVID funds that we have in Lansing could go towards revitalizing some of the businesses that were so horribly affected by the government shutdown. We need to look at that. We need to have our business owners feel good about themselves and be able to hire those good workers who are going to become good members of our community. So I think that's the success of economic development.
Great, thank you, Anne. Jeremy Rodgers from Arbury Insurance.
Good afternoon, Ann. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, Jeremy.
Could you provide some examples of what you would do to help local businesses succeed and drive economic growth?
Well, I kind of touched on that just a little bit with Rod's question. I think that we really need to look at those COVID funds that we have down in Lansing to perhaps give back to the folks that were most affected by the shutdown so that they can bring their businesses back to vitality, so that they can provide the jobs to bring back people into our community, to make them want to stay here, raise their families, spend money within our community. I think that's a really important thing. And I think that the COVID funds could go a little ways to helping that.
All right, thank you. John Boothroyd from Michigan Sugar.
I am. If elected, what will your approach to the county, state, or excuse me, to the state budget be? And what's your general philosophy around spending and taxation?
So I know people always want to say when they run for office, I'm going to cut your taxes, because it's like the kitschy thing to say. I don't think that's a really smart thing to say, because I think that you have to be really careful, because anytime you cut taxes, you got to try to figure out where you're going to make that money up at. What program are you going to cut to pay for that tax cut that you're giving to everyone? So I think it's important that you don't go down a path that you can't actually provide to people. I've been budgeting in my office for the last 14 years. I know what it's like for the county to tell me you have X number of dollars to spend and you have to stay within that budget. I do always try to make sure that I stay within the budget and actually give part of my budget back, because it's always a checks and balance. So if you want this particular item, you're going to have to sacrifice. So I think that you have to make sure at the end of the day that you don't try to make promises that you can't keep. And you try to make sure that, your budget is within your limits, and that's how the state needs to do it as well. We need to have a balanced budget. We have lots of COVID money that's sitting down there, but we need to figure out the best way to use that, whether it's infrastructure or whether it's giving back to businesses, small and large. That's the things that we need to decide when I go to Lansing. I hope to be able to do.
Great,
Thank you.
you, Anne. And Jeremy has a question for you.
Sure.
Hi again, Anne.
Hi, Jeremy.
How would you describe the current balance of power between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of state government?
Wow, that is a big question. How would I describe it? Well, right now, I think the legislature has taken back over the executive powers, I think is a good thing. I think that we need to make sure that we don't let what happened in 2020 happen again. That was good for no one, our children, anyone. And as far as the judicial branch goes, I think that there is a definite movement to make everyone work better together, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. We want to try and make sure that people in our communities who perhaps made mistakes in the past are able to, get those things off their records so that they can become productive members of society. That's all part of the judicial branch working with the executive branch to get those things done. So I think that, we all just need to, at the end of the day, work together to make Michigan a place people want to be.
Great, thank you. Believe it or not, we are almost to the end, and you have 2 minutes to talk about issues that we haven't covered or anything else you would like to share with our viewers.
I think the only thing is really that I would like to share, Diane, is just that, I have spent my entire career being a public, I'm sorry, my kid's jumping up here, being a public servant, and I enjoy what I do. I wanted to become the county clerk because I want to give back. I think I still have more to give back. I would love to go to Lansing to represent Midland and Gladwin. And I think that the reasons is that I have a lot of leadership. I have a lot of experience. I've been leading a team of 13 individuals. I've been leading the township and city clerks for the last 14 years. And at the end of the day, I have actually administered over 53 elections in Midland County. That's about 740,000 of all of your ballots that you've entrusted to me. So I think that I can show that I've got the experience and the leadership. I've spent 8 years on the legislative committee for the Michigan Association of County Clerks, actually working on legislation and moving it forward. So I think I've got what it takes, and I hope that the folks of the Business Alliance will be an Ann fan and vote on August 2nd for me. Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you, Ann. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and a little bit about your campaign and what you hope to accomplish. Good morning, and we are moving along to our next interview. This morning joining us is Bill G. Schuette. Bill is a candidate for the 95th District State House. So we're pleased to be interviewing him this morning. And we've got a couple of questions, so let's get right to it. So good morning, Bill.
Good morning.
In 2 minutes or less, could you describe for our viewers your platform, your qualifications, and why you're running for elected office?
Sure, and thank you, Diane, for hosting us today. The Midland Business Alliance does such great work, and I appreciate the opportunity to communicate with your membership. So my name is Bill G. Schuette, and I'm running as a Republican to be your next state representative. And I'm running for state representative because I want the next decade of Mid-Michigan to be better than our last. And that will only happen if you send leaders to Lansing who are going to stand up for your freedom, your family, and your future. That's me, and I'll ask for your vote on August 2nd. A little bit more about me. I'm a local guy, born and raised here in Midland, and graduated K through 12 in Midland Public Schools. I served my country at home and overseas as an intelligence officer with the Defense Intelligence Agency. And in that position, I briefed generals and prepared briefings for the Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States. And I've worked here locally for Dow, our hometown Fortune 500 company, on their public policy team. So I'm familiar with the state, federal, and local issues impacting our job creators. In Lansing, I'm going to fight for your freedom, which means I want to cut your taxes, especially when inflation is taking bigger and bigger chunks of your savings and paycheck. I'm going to stand up for our families, which means defending a parent's seat at the table in their child's education and backing the blue of our brave women and men in law enforcement. And I'm going to fight for the future of this community as well. That means we need to rebuild the dams and bring back the lakes and build flood reduction infrastructure. So I'm actually turning 27 today, but I view my youth as an asset. We need more young people involved in public service, especially when you see weak and frail leadership in Washington. And I'm prepared for this responsibility. I've briefed generals at home and overseas. I can stand up for you in Lansing. So I ask for your vote on August 2nd in the Republican primary.
Thank you, Bill, and happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. And Diane Bristol with CBM Services has our first question. Diane.
Good morning. Happy birthday, Bill.
Hey, thanks, Diane.
What are the 3 most important issues facing the Midland community today, and how would you suggest those issues be addressed?
It's an important question, Diane. And I think the top 3 priorities for me are 1, growth for this region and for this state, 2, education, and then 3, local infrastructure. So there isn't a problem in this entire state that won't be easier to solve if we're not growing. And the only way that we make this a growing state is by having it be the most dynamic state and most dynamic region in the country to start your family, build your business, and live your life. We got to get government out of the way of hardworking Michiganders and out of their wallets. And when we're talking about education, no one cares more about their kids than their parents. So let's make sure that parents always have a seat at the table in their child's education and give our children and our parents the most options and opportunities for their child to succeed. And locally, it's so important that we bring back the lake. So you can drive down US 10 and once again see a beautiful Sanford Lake. We can take our boats out and enjoy what's a treasure of this region. But we also need to build flood reduction infrastructure. That's an important to provide peace of mind and security for our business owners and property owners and homeowners here in mid-Michigan to know that every time it rains, we don't have to worry about our basements flooding.
Thank you, Bill. Jon Lauderbach from Warner Norcross and Judd has our next question.
Thanks, Diane. Good morning, Bill. How would you define economic development success for the Midland community?
Well, I like to think of economic development sort of like a garden. What we need to do is make sure that the ground here is fertile for those businesses operating here and make it easy for them to provide new expansions and to take care of those we have here. We also need to make sure it's easier to plant new crops of small businesses across mid-Michigan and be sure it's an attractive area for transplants and new investment. That only happens, John, I think, if it's an attractive tax zoning and cost structure here in the mid-Michigan area, and making sure we're also building a community-wide fabric with stakeholder engagement and the appropriate infrastructure of things like broadband that can allow all types of businesses to succeed in a thriving, growing garden, I guess.
Great, thank you very much. Rod Kloha from Circle K Service has our next question for Bill.
Morning, Bill, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Could you provide some examples of what you would do to help local business succeed and drive economic growth?
Yeah, Rodney, I appreciate that question. And, in the past 7 months, I've met with job creators across mid-Michigan from your own company at Circle K Services, Robinson Industries on other ends of the district. And I've heard from you and from others how the rising cost of inputs is making it harder and harder to run your operations. So when that's the case, we need to cut taxes for all of our businesses and everyone in the state of Michigan, give all your employees a pay raise and bring down the cost of you doing business. We also need to address the skill shortage. Everyone from Three Rivers to Molasses in downtown Midland is dealing with a labor shortage. So let's look to expand opportunities and education in the skilled trades. We have great programs like our home building trades courses in many of our local public schools, but also organizations we have here like the Greater Michigan Construction Academy. We need to make sure we're providing a pipeline of employees for our job creators. And soaring energy costs are difficult. So let's look at every way to bring down our energy costs, whether that's building the Line 5 tunnel, looking to nuclear power, or other ideas like eliminating the personal property tax for new utility investment. Bringing down energy costs will also help our local businesses a lot.
Thank you. That's a great segue into Diane's question. Diane?
If elected, Bill, what will your approach be to the state budget, and what is your general philosophy on spending and taxation?
Well, thank you. I think, when you look at budgets, we need to be looking at how are we good stewards of taxpayer dollars? And we need to make sure that with any type of spending, we're providing the maximum return on investment for this region and for this state. And then we're also looking for every way to return money to you and to the taxpayer. So if we look at our current budget, it's a record more than $70 billion budget. And so we need to take some of that budget and invest in our critical infrastructure, repair our roads, bridges, and dams. Those are where we get the return on the investment here locally. Rebuild our dams, bring back our lakes, build that flood reduction infrastructure that we really need here locally. But also, this is your money. We need to make sure that we're returning it to you, looking for ways to put money back in the pockets of hardworking Michiganders. So we need to look for all terms of tax relief, whether that's our state income tax, earned income tax credit. It's your money. It should be coming back to you first and foremost.
Great, thank you. And Jon Lauderbach has our last question.
Thanks, Diane. Bill, how would you describe the current balance of power between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of state government?
Yeah, John, that's an important question. And I think we saw some of the consequences of executive branch overreach during the COVID-19 pandemic. I've, again, talked with businesses throughout mid-Michigan who were really hurt by the overreaching power grab that we saw from Lansing. Retailers who lost out on foot traffic, restaurants held captive to changing curfew and capacity restrictions. So we can never allow that type of overreach to happen again. And what we need to do is make sure that the legislature has a voice and provides review of executive power. I've also heard how our state regulatory agencies so often function as kind of gotcha agencies rather than as collaborative partners. And if we have more buy-in from the legislature, we can make sure that your advocates, your representatives in Lansing are making sure that our regulatory agencies are responsible and beholden to you, not just changing with the winds of whatever administration is in the governor's mansion.
Thank you. That was our last question. Bill, you have 2 minutes to wrap it up in any way you would like.
Well, thank you, Diane. And again, I appreciate the Midland Business Alliance for pulling together this forum. One issue that I know you are doing a lot of great work on that I didn't have a chance to touch on, but I think is so important is broadband. We need to get broadband in every corner of mid-Michigan. I talked to a farmer up in Beaverton who had his family's been in his farm for generations, but without broadband, it's impossible to run the business anymore. So we need to make sure we're getting that fully deployed throughout the region. I know Tina and your team is working very hard on that. But in conclusion, I'd ask for your vote on August 2nd for 3 key reasons. One, I'm the conservative Republican in this race that you can trust is going to fight for your freedom, cut your taxes, and help grow this state and our local economy. 2, I want everyone to know that I'm earning this responsibility. Knocked on almost 7,000 doors. After today, I'm going to go knock on a few more, no matter the heat or the humidity. I'm doing the work and listening to you. And I've also met with job creators all across this district and throughout your MBA membership. I will always go the extra mile for you in Lansing. And I am prepared for this responsibility. I was trusted with America's highly classified secrets during my time as an intelligence officer with the Defense Intelligence Agency. You can trust me to fight for you in Lansing. If I've briefed generals at home and overseas, I can debate Democrats in Lansing. So thank you for your time, and I ask for your vote on August 2nd.
Thank you for your time this morning, Bill. We've really enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.